Okay, back out in the garage working on the Suzuki LT230S rear brake master cylinder. It's a lot to say. That's the valve body. If you remember from the first video, it was painted black from the factory. The paint was kind of ratty, so I cleaned it up, polished it a little bit. I was going to repaint it, but it looks good polished up. I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I was actually surprised how quickly it polished up. So anyway, I'm going to leave it like that. So I just want to show you how this is going to go back together. This is what comes with the kit. Again, you got the two seals, you got the piston, it comes with a new spring, that's a dust boot, and then a new snap ring. But one thing I want to show you, those two black seals, when I took them out, the old ones were pretty flat, so it was hard to tell which way the taper went. But I'm hoping you can see that good in the video. On the right hand side, it's wider than on the left hand side, so it tapers this way. Same thing, this one goes on the same exact way. Taper on the right hand side, the wider end, and it tapering down to the left towards this end of the piston. So that's important. So again, hopefully you can see that. So I got this lubed up already. I used some DOT3 brake fluid. I think you can use DOT4 in these too, but I always use the 3. So we're going to come over here. I lubed up this bore too a little while ago. So spring down. Going to set that in there. Make sure it's straight, and it should pop in there pretty good. Push it down, test it a little bit. It should pop right back up. You know, it's going to feel a little stiff because of the seals. It should do that. But if you push it down and it stays down, you got a problem, but it pops right back up. So now, take your push rod, and you take this round end, the concaved end, and obviously that lines up like that. Push that down in, and then you can see how the washer drops down in. Now it's probably hard to see, maybe you can see it there a little bit, but there's a slice that goes all the way around, for lack of a better term, where the snap ring will snap into there, and then it'll hold this into place, and then we can put our dust boot on. I'm going to do that off camera because I only have 2 hands. I'll be back. Okay, we got that snap ring in place. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that, but the snap ring is set into the groove in there now, and it's got that locks that washer in place. So basically now your push rod's secured in there, and you should be able to push it back up and down. And it should pop up on its own like it's doing, which is good. So now basically what we have left to do is put the dust boot on. Just a tip on that snap ring. There's the snap ring pliers. These came from Home Depot. Make sure you got the right tips in it, and make sure it's compressing the right way. So you grab that snap ring and you compress it. Then once you do that, what I usually do is take the back end of the snap ring, not the end that you got the pliers squeezing it, but the back end, and I kind of set that down in first, and then try to push the front down. And then once you get it halfway down or so, you can try to get the pliers out of there. Leaving the snap ring kind of sitting there. It's still not in the groove, but then you take a flathead screwdriver or something similar, and then you just take that snap ring and you just go around and you push it in, and get my hand out of the way, and you just keep pushing around. Eventually that snap ring will set right into that groove, and you'll know when it's in there. You know, try to pull up on the rod and you can't budge it. So again, make sure it compresses freely. You know, again, it's going to be stiff because it's supposed to be. It's making a seal. So all that's really left is the dust boot, and what I had to do is you got to take this top piece off, get that out of your way, and then set this boot on here like so, and it'll stretch. It'll go over these like so. So now that you got it here, again, I might have to do this off camera, trying to do it one-handed, but this might not be the best screwdriver for the job. I got my little stubby here. But you'll go around with something that's not going to obviously put a hole in it, and you'll keep pushing this down around in, and that dust boot will snap into place. Once that's in, that's it. Put your top piece back on, make sure everything's tight, and really that's it. You know, I didn't really show anything with this end, but this is pretty common sense. It's basically got one screw that holds it in place. It's got an O-ring. And You don't get a new O-ring, at least with the kit that I got, but there's nothing wrong with this one, and you probably get one at your hardware store if you had to, but I'm going to reuse that one. It wasn't leaking. And put your hose back on, just reverse of what you did. But that's it in a nutshell. Hope it helped.